What are your opinions on buyers working with the seller's agent rather than having their own agent to represent them?
I feel like this is going to be different for us because we operate as a team more than like as an individual agent structure. I often, like, I list more than I help buyers, but personally, I don't like knowing both sides of the story. I don't like knowing this buyer has a pre-approval up to this amount, or that my seller is listed at this, but is really willing to take this.
Yeah.
So on our team, like, we refer it out, right? Like, or not refer it out, but like I send it to somebody else on the team to represent, because then I feel
there's some separation.
I don't want to know the discussions between buyer and agent and seller and agent, right? But that's me. I know a lot of people handle it differently too.
That's
a nice way of putting it.
I just always find it funny that people, like, when you get those conversations from the public, generally the conversation is, won't I get a better deal when I'm working with you?
Yes.
And the answer is no. Like, the commissions don't change. They are based on what we have already negotiated with the listing or selling party. So you coming in and working with me, I might get more of the commission, but that doesn't mean you're getting a better deal on the house. And you really should have your own representation because
I strongly think that.
Agreed.
I agree.
I'm
I agree.
100. Like, honestly, if it's my listing, like, again, we work as a team, so like, yes, it is part of the umbrella of the Queen team, but we are all our own agents and we all separately work our clients.
Yeah.
So it's not like, for instance, if somebody comes to me, calls me on my listing, I would refer that purchaser out to one of our team. I don't want to be, especially if it's something that's like a competitive situation with other agents. Like, I don't want to have an advantage. I don't think that's fair. That's not helping my seller. That's not helping the buyer who could potentially be my buyer. Like, it's just.
But I think when people say, oh, I'm going to have an advantage, they don't understand that in order for them to have an advantage, it means that the listing agent is being shady. There's no nicer way to put it.
There is not a nicer way to put it.
Compromising on something. Yes.
Absolutely.
I also think, and I sometimes get clients this way, like buyer clients. I will tell people, okay, like, are you working with a realtor yet? And they say no. And I say, typically at open houses and things like that, and I always make the comment, like, I would love to be your realtor. And if it's me, great. If it's not me, that's okay too, but find your realtor that will work for you.
For sure.
Don't call agent to agent.
And sometimes just me telling them, they call me because
you're
they
honest
trust me.
But
I think, again, that is super good advice that I think that I
For
can
sure.
provide to the public. And I think that it's free in Manitoba. It's free to work with an agent as a buyer. So why would you not do that? Why would you not have someone working for you in your best interest?
And you can find someone that you work well with, you're comfortable with, you can communicate well with, right? It doesn't have to be the first agent you meet, but you should have your own agent.
There is no cost to interviewing a realtor.
Exactly.
You can interview a realtor just like you are interviewing for any other job position. This is the biggest purchase.
You can enter 5 realtors.
It's the biggest purchase of your life. Do you just want to walk into the first house you like and say, hey, that guy was there, so he's going to help me? But or girl.
Well, and there's already an established relationship between seller and realtor, and they are currently acting on that seller's best interest.
For sure.
In that seller's best interest, right? So, like, where do the loyalties lie? Where does the proper advice begin and end?
You want someone representing your best interests.
And with the whole service agreement in Manitoba, which I don't think we'll necessarily get into in this video, but when you are calling someone, if you're calling them off the sign to show you that property, yes, they can book you a showing and show you that property. But in that scenario, if you haven't signed anything with that realtor is there for their seller.
They're showing it for their seller.
For their
On behalf
seller,
of their
on
seller.
behalf of their seller. So
true.
And shouldn't be advising you on price or anything else anyways.
No.
Like
they're
you're there to
representing the seller.
facilitate a viewing of the home.
That's
That's
a
it.
very good point.
So
So as a buyer, wouldn't you want someone that can upfront do all the digging on the house, try to nitpick this house for
Provide you all the
provide
details.
you all of those details, as opposed to someone that is there for their seller to sell
And
the
advise
home.
you on price,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good point. But yeah, if you, and the other thing too, it's honestly, half of it is just logistics. Like, we have a few people, I feel like you have one of the most active leads right now, where she emails us on every single one of our listings. And she asks the same question, is there a PDS? Is there anything wrong with this house? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
On every single
on
one.
every single listing. And like,
But she doesn't want to work with a realtor.
but she doesn't want to work with a realtor. She wants it to be shown to her, but she is deciding on her own. And every single time, now I just have her saved. But it's like, you're not getting proper advice, my dear friend. Like, you aren't working with a realtor. You need
At
to
some
work with a
point, I
realtor.
thought, like, is she real or is it a scam? Because it's the same message every time.
It's the same message. She's copying and pasting it into realtor.ca. And then the last time she reached out, I said, I believe Shayla's been working with you. She's shown you a few of our properties. I can tell from the database. But like, at this point, Shayla's still representing the seller. Each time she's showing you this property, she could be providing a lot more value and logistic help too. Like, you're probably saying this to 10 other realtors if you're saying this to us.
Well, and in that case, she knows some of the questions to ask, but like, not most times. Not everyone does. Like, the general public doesn't know to necessarily, like, is there a property disclosure statement? Is there, you know, like, things to look for?
They don't know.
They don't know. So it's nice to have someone that does know
To
help
guide you. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, if you have someone on retainer, on a service agreement type thing, they want to work for you. That's the point. Like, we want to help you find a home. Like, it's not that we're not like, hey, can we just show anybody properties? Can we, you know, write offers with people who don't want to work with us? Like,
and I think there's still a misconception about the buyer service agreement. People know you have to sign paperwork if you're listing, but buying, that is new, right?
Yes.
So I still think there's a lack of education out there that people, when we're asking them to sign these buyer service agreements, that it's because we have to. If we want to show you a listing other than our own, we have to get this form signed.
It's also confusing for people. I know this wasn't supposed to be on this topic, but it's confusing for people who, if you haven't purchased a home or been in the real estate market in the last 3 years, this is new. So just because like we've been doing it since it became legislation, but
and they're like, why do I
people-
have to sign this?
For sure.
Right?
I've never had to sign this before.
I've never signed. I've bought plenty of houses over the last 50 years. Well, that's great, but 2
You
years
haven't
ago,
in the last
3
3
years
years.
ago.
Yeah.
And then you also have to think about like, yes, okay, I can show you our listing, but I can't show you other
one
listings.
down
Like,
the
it's
street.
just
Which is confusing,
It's
right?
very confusing from a public perspective. I still think.
But again, then I tell that person, I can't show you the other one because we haven't signed anything yet. And when I show you this one, I'm there for my seller.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Well, that's how it
True.
is.
Yeah, it's true. It's all like,
But that's as transparent as you can be. I'm sure there's many situations where it's a lot less transparent.
you're not showing up and saying, I can get you a real good deal. But no, get an agent to represent your own interests always. I don't think you come out ahead by using the listing agent as the strategy.
Get your own agent, sign a service agreement, but read that service agreement and make sure that that service agreement covers what you expect it to cover. There are things that have to be in there, but there doesn't have to be a mandatory timeline that you have to be in it. You don't have to be forced to work with someone that you don't want to work with.
No, absolutely not.
This is a conversation between you and the realtor you want. And if someone is forcing you to stay,
It's not the right one.
it's not the right one. Like,
And terms in any contract can be negotiated
Yeah.
too,
For sure.
right? Like if you like the person and maybe there's something concerning in their contract, you have that discussion, right? Because it could just be an oversight on their part. There were a lot of boilerplate templates that came out when this legislation came in.
Just like any form that when you purchase or sell real estate, you should be understanding the form that you're signing before you sign it. So
and it should work for both parties.
Yep, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very true.
So get a buyer's agent.
I think we're in agreement on that.
You're not getting a deal just because you're working with a listing agent.
No, if anything, it makes some more annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.